Welcome back to the Uintas. And yes, I got my car back. Has been MIA for the first part of this summer. Had to have some transmission work done on it. And $1,400 and 6 weeks later, it is back in full operational mode, for lack of a better word. I'm not thinking too clearly. I am filming on my cell phone this entire trip. On the negative side, the sound isn't great on my cell phone, so I'm not sure how it's going to come across once I get home and edit. And the reason why is simply because I got all the way up here with my regular camera that I film all my videos with and turned it on to film. And there is no memory card in the camera. I had taken it out to remove some video from it and plugged it into my laptop at home and forgot all about it. So I always forget something, and this time it was a doozy. Anyway, hope you don't mind. This is all going to be cell phone and also not on a tripod because I don't have the little bracket with me that would hold my phone onto my tripod. So a little clumsy beginning to my first solo trip of the year, but we'll make it work. We are at the Fehr Lake Trailhead. I've been here before, but we are not camping at Fehr Lake. We are camping at a lake called Hoover Lake. I've camped up here at Fehr Lake, and right after Fehr Lake, a little ways down the trail, is Shepherd Lake, followed by Hoover Lake. And I have not camped Hoover Lake, so a lot of this trail, if you saw my Fehr Lake with my kids or my Shepherd Lake solo videos from 2020, maybe 2021, I think it was 2020. Anyway, if you've seen them, then this may look somewhat familiar to a point. Hopefully I have enough space on my phone to make this work. I think I do. I've got a pretty huge memory card in my phone. This is so clumsy. This whole summer has been a train wreck. I'm gonna make sure my car's locked. It's not. I will do my best to keep things steady and film them decently, and there's not much I can do about the sound on my phone. Hopefully it's okay. I don't know. Here is our sign: Fehr Lake 1/2 mile, Shepherd Lake 1 mile, Hoover Lake 1.5 miles. So not too far in, but this trail is moderately challenging. I would say little kids would struggle with this. Older kids would do better. And somebody forgot their hats. Here's our trail. The beginning's a little soggy. We're still dealing with some snow runoff. But for the most part it's melted. That's Bald Mountain. You can see patches of snow on it. The parking lot is fairly crowded. A lot of day hikers up here enjoying the weekend. Of course, we're parked right off Highway 150 in the Uintas, the main highway through the only highway through the Uintas. So a lot of traffic noise here at the beginning of the trail, but as we hike, we'll get further and further away from the highway and further away from people. I had a group of about 10 people show up right when I did, and they took their sweet time getting their fishing poles and taking pictures and having some really awesome conversation. that I probably didn't need to be privy to, but I had to stand there and wait for them probably about 15 minutes for them to move on down the trail. So I'm taking it slow. I just don't want to be right on their heels. I don't mind, that. I'm not complaining about them. I'm just saying that it's a large group. They seem to be taking their time, and it would be very easy for me at my usual hiking pace to catch right up to them. Fehr Lake, which is just down here, is the smallest of the lakes. Shepherd Lake is much bigger, and Hoover Lake, from the looks of it, is even bigger than Shepherd Lake. There's also a lake over that way called Marshall Lake, but it's more uphill, and I don't think we'll be visiting there on this trip. I'm already gaining on them. Yikes, I better give them some more space. Today is Saturday, July 2nd, 2022. I have all day today. It is only 12:45 and all day tomorrow to spend up here, so I'm not in a huge hurry. We'll get to camp wherever that ends up being. We'll have lunch, set up my hammock system, and we're just gonna do some exploring while we're up here and enjoy ourselves. Pretty much my usual thing, really. Originally this was going to be my Hoover Basin weekend with Garrett Bardsley, where he disappeared. I've done 2 video series now talking about him and his disappearance, but this year I want to do a meetup, and there will be a separate video announcing when that will be. It's going to be in August instead of this weekend. So watch for that video if you're interested. It's probably up before this one, actually, so just a short video announcement that I'll be filming while I'm up here. This is pretty. We've only been hiking maybe 10 minutes and you can already see Fehr Lake down there. Very short walk. I think little kids would do okay going to Fehr Lake, but the trail between Fehr and Shepherd is a lot more rocky and steeper. So if you're gonna bring little kids up here, 5-year-old, they're gonna struggle with this. Older kids would be fine, like I said. I would call this part of the trail easy, and of course it's all downhill. So going back towards the trailhead is going to be an uphill climb in higher elevation. I'll put the elevation that we're at right now on the screen, and that makes for thinner air and a lot more exertion to get where you need to go, especially if you're used to lower elevations. As we get towards Fehr Lake, the path we want to take is to the left. We want to stay to the left and go around Fehr Lake. That's where the trail continues, and from everything I've seen online, once we get to Shepherd Lake, we'll want to also stay to the left to get to Hoover Lake. It can be tempting to go off that way. I camped over there with my boys a couple years ago. I want to say it was last year, but honestly 2020 and 2021 kind of run together for me, kind of a blur, not just because of the pandemic, but also because of the some things that took place in my life that kind of threw me off for a while. So as you can see, the trail continues on to the left, but you can be tempted to go that way. And I'll show you where my kids and I camped shortly. So this is Fehr Lake, and right over in that group of pine trees, right over in there, is where my boys and I camped. When we came here last, we climbed up to those cliffs right up there and kind of explored up in the crevices and stuff, and walked all through those trees. There are a couple of decent campsites over in there, and it was a very fun trip. The boys brought their BB guns and shot at everything. This is Fehr Lake. There are fish in here, but we're not here to fish this time. I don't have my license renewed at the moment, so I would be fishing illegally, so that's not happening. Let's continue on. Okay, we're leaving Fehr Lake behind, heading on towards Shepherd Lake. This hike has one of the longest boardwalks I've ever seen on a mountain hike. Not this one, but there's one coming up that's just crazy long. I can't imagine the work that went into it. And I'm grateful because it looks like maybe at times the meadow that it's in, which is right up here, can be pretty swampy. Feeling that elevation already. Thin air. So here's the meadow I was talking about with the world's longest hiking trail boardwalk. I'm just kidding. I don't know what the world's longest is, but this winds all the way through here, snakes around, and continues up into those trees. And I would imagine with how swampy this is now, just how bad it is when the snow is more prevalent. It's just a big swamp. He's having fun. Woo! So now I'm up where the bend is in the trail, in the on the boardwalk, and you can see it continues well up through this meadow as well. A lot of people took some serious time to build this. It always impresses me. Plus, look at the scenery. It's just incredible walking through all of this. It's beautiful. It's kind of nice when you're hiking back from Shepherd Lake and it's all uphill and rocky, and then you come to this boardwalk that's mostly level, goes downhill towards Fehr Lake before it goes back uphill to the trailhead. It's really quite a relief to come to this, because you're no longer walking on a rocky, bumpy trail going uphill. You're now suddenly on a smooth road. It's kind of like driving on a road that's not well maintained, and then suddenly driving onto fresh blacktop. Look at that though, what a view. One thing that's funny about forgetting my memory card is that I packed 2 weeks ago, and I went over and over my gear list that I keep in my phone, and everything's there. But usually My memory card is in my camera, and I forgot I had filmed a short video and downloaded it to my laptop and didn't put the memory card back in the camera. Thank goodness for backup technology, because my only other option would be to drive back to town and buy a memory card. There have been a couple of videos where I left my prescription glasses, my regular glasses, back in the car and hiked all the way to camp and realized I still had my sunglasses on. My last video, my friends Joe and Jake, I did just that for the second time ever, and that time I had to hike all the way back to the car to get my glasses. And I neglected to mention my sunglasses are also prescription. So some people were like, so what, why didn't you bring your glasses? Why would you forget to bring your glasses? Because I need both of them to see. These are prescription sunglasses, and I can see just fine with them on. What makes me forget my regular glasses usually is the fact that I can see just fine and I don't think about it. If I had them off, everything would be blurry, and so I would be like, oh, my glasses. It's very obvious to me. So that's why that's happened a couple times, and this time I intentionally placed them on top of my camera gear in my car on the drive up. So I have my regular glasses in my pack as well as my sunglasses. I have all the food and water and gear that I need. We'll talk about that at camp. I just didn't bring a memory card to use in my favorite camera. Now going downhill towards Shepherd Lake. And this is what I mean. We'll be coming up all of this, of course, on the way back home tomorrow. It's very rocky and somewhat steep. I wouldn't call it a hard trail, but definitely moderate. I've already seen a couple of groups turn back and head back to the parking area that got here when I did. Sure is beautiful though. And the trees are getting much thicker. Not just width-wise, but the density of the forest is what I mean. Almost ate it. Hi, buddy. How are you? Just exploring? Older couple were coming up the trail with that dog. That dog's name is Ed. That's funny. Look at this trail. It's just very rocky. I'm getting eaten alive. I have bug spray, but I haven't put any on yet, and I should have put it on at the trailhead. As soon as I stand still, I get landed on. It's gonna be a buggy trip. And speaking of dogs, Scraps did not come on this trip because I still can't get him to jump in the hammock with me or figure out some other accommodation for him that he'll take to. He's an older dog. He's what, 8, almost 9 years old. I guess he is 9 years old now. Just barely, I think the end of June, and today is July 2nd, so he just had a birthday. Anyway, he just doesn't want to grasp onto new concepts like he used to, which is the reason for that saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. He had a really hard time, like a recent camp out with my kids, staying overnight in the tent. He was pretty scared and freaked out the whole time. So I don't know if that's going to work out. The next time I get a puppy, I will be sure to train him from the ground up to be out here in this, to explore and look forward to camping and hiking It's just a foreign concept to Scraps. Kind of like, you know, if you're a very indoor person, you like hotels and room service, you would probably hate this hike. Check out this hollowed out tree. What there is left of it. So that's how it is with Scraps. He's kind of an indoor dog, a stay-at-home dog. He likes to go for car rides. He likes to go places with me and go for his walk. He even loves hiking, but he's not big on overnights. So he stayed home. Jeez, so many rocks. A very wet, muddy dog just greeted me warmly. My hands all wet from being licked. Good thing I'm a dog lover. Very sweet dogs. Little poodles. You don't see poodles on a hiking trail very often. Like little ones, not like, you know, labradoodles or something, but little poodles. Little troopers just trucking along with their owners. They were worried about the dog jumping on me. I said, I'm up here to get dirty anyway, and at least they're being nice to me, and they're just trying to be affectionate towards me, so no big deal. Look at this trail. You got this little creek running by, this pointy rocky trail. Still working our way towards Shepherd. Beautiful pond over in there. Probably, whoops, ridden with mosquitoes. So I'll pass on getting any closer to it. So glad I have bug spray. I just wish I had it on. I've seen buggier, but this is pretty impressive. It's definitely bug season. I remember this pond. So we're getting fairly close to Shepherd Lake. There will be a lot of downhill after this at the end of the boardwalk. Kind of have to make every step count coming down this trail. Now it looks like a, you know, dry creek bed, but it's actually a trail. We're almost to Shepherd Lake, our first view of it right there. Shepherd Lake. And where I camped last time was right over there. Hiked all the way around the lake and settled on that spot. There are only a couple of places you can really camp here. We'll continue this way. Hoover Lake is right down over that. Not too much further. Trail around Shepherd has been very soggy. You can see by my shoes. And rocky, which isn't too surprising. I already knew that, having been here before. It wasn't quite this soggy the last time I was here. There's a lot of standing water from the melted snow. Sure is beautiful though. Cool story about when I camped over there. One of my most interesting fishing experiences ever. I kept trying to catch me some dinner over there. And it must have been 2020 because I had a campfire, and last year they were banned. They're not this year so far. Anyway, I kept fishing. I kept seeing the fish jump and pool in the water. I just having no luck whatsoever over there. They did not like my bait, so I decided to throw my line in the water and go to bed for the night. And when I woke up the next morning, my fishing line was super tight, and there was a big fat fish on there, a nice meaty one, and I ended up cooking him for breakfast over the campfire, bushcraft style, right over there on those green shores. That was quite an experience. Well, we're leaving Shepherd Lake behind. As you can see, it's bigger than Fehr Lake was. And our trail continues to the left up that way to Hoover Lake. So from just right up here with the naked eye, I can see Shepherd Lake. You can turn around this way and there's Hoover Lake. They're not very far apart at all. Looks like there will be a lot of downhill though. I've been taking this hike slow and steady, moving over and letting people pass at their leisure, petting a lot of dogs, taking pictures, taking video. I'm just not in a huge hurry. I have all day. I'm not hungry. And I just want to avoid any kind of injuries, or I don't want to get overly fatigued. So just been taking it slow and steady and actually enjoying the hike, enjoying the journey, not just the destination. So far I've been hiking for about an hour and a half, and this is not an hour and a half hike. It's just, I am not in a big hurry, and with, I've mentioned before in previous videos my broken kneecap that cannot be repaired, and it's not a big deal. I barely notice it until I'm going downhill, and then I can feel exactly where it is. But I don't want to put too much pressure on that. This is the last place I want to be and have my knee shatter on me or something like that. The doctor felt like it would be okay as long as I didn't do anything really stupid. And I never have. Since breaking it, I've always taken it kind of easy and slow. I'm taking this hike especially slow. I just don't want to rush through any of this trip. I want to savor every moment. Lake's right there. Our trail goes this way. I hear a lot of voices. Hopefully we can find somewhere to throw the hammock up and have a fire. You'll have to excuse the other voices in the background. There's a somewhat large group behind me and another one hiking in. This is Hoover Lake. My first time ever being here. Quite beautiful. And a beautiful day too. So now the question is, do we keep going left or do we go right? There's some people down there on kayaks, some people behind me in hammocks. I'd kind of like to move my way around the lake and find a more isolated spot than what you're hearing, and come up here for a get together. I came up here for solitude. So I'm hoping to find something over on the other side. So I'm gonna go that way, which means probably cutting through their camp, because they are actually camped literally on the trail. I think I am gonna go to the left still. That's been my pattern so far, so I'm gonna stick to it. I didn't really see a trail going to the right, so we'll see what we can find. Hopefully I'm not gonna walk through a swamp or something. There's not much of a trail to follow. Like, it sort of dissipates right where these people are camped. So hike around and see what I can find, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about it.